And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of That's a Bet podcast. You know who it is. It's your boy, Two T's, coming to you live from the Tap Studios, and it is NFL Week 4. I'm so excited to bring you guys another edition of this That's a Bet series. But y'all know, I can't start the show without introducing the best co-host in all of podcast land. Y'all know him by Willie J. But y'all know what to say. Say it with me. Willie baby. What's up with your Willie baby?
Not too much, man. Shout out to my bookie. Been looking at these lines, seeing how I could get in and make a little money this week. But other than that, it's the same thing every week, trying to fit in, figure out where I can make some money, man.
Yeah, man, I feel you. And yeah, shout out to my bookie, man. If you guys haven't heard already, announcing on IG, but mybookie.ag is officially partnering with That's a Bet podcast. Willie J. Man, that sounds, man, it's crazy just to think where we started and where we are now. Such a blessing. So excited. Like, wow. Like, we really got a partnership. We've been talking about this for years, right?
Yeah, but it's just, it's the beginning. We still got a long ways to go, but man, we are making progress. It's the third year now, right?
Yep.
So
Third
yeah,
year and we rolling, man. So,
yeah.
and look, you guys, you're probably seeing our faces right now on YouTube. We are back on YouTube every week from now on, as well as all platforms where you can listen to podcasts as well. So we're so excited to be bringing you another edition of That's a Bet podcast, powered by mybookie.ag. Make sure you guys head over there to get all your bets in this weekend. And Willie J, I'm excited, man. Week 4 should be a fun week. But before we jump into week 4, you know what we got to do, man. Y'all see the hat. You know your boy Two T's, a.k.a. Pete the Pineapples. Pete's Pineapples, man. I'm in a Circa Millions contest. I'm usually hitting my boy Willie J up every week about it. Week 3, man, dude, 4-1, man. 4-1. So if you guys haven't seen, I've been posting on social media at That's a Bet Podcast and at Pineapple Picks 2Ts on Twitter and IG. Willie, I went 4-1 twice this year. Each time I've been 4-1, guys, the team that has cost me is the New York Jets. Please, somebody slap me, man. Somebody slap me, man. So, week 3, it was dope, man. I was very happy with once I submitted my picks to my proxy that I truly felt I was gonna go 5-0. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
those weeks, right? I took the Saints +3. They obliterated the Patriots in New England. I actually won a few times. I actually bet the Morehouse Tigers. If you guys know, Morehouse is the Atlanta Falcons. We always joke about that, right?
Been
Um,
calling them that for a couple years now. So the guys that's been with us since day one, they know who Morehouse is.
right. Y'all know I took Morehouse +3 in New York. They actually covered and won the game outright. So I was happy about that. My sweat of the week, was the Dolphins +4 against the Raiders. Wow, what a game. Had to go to OT. They almost scored first drive in OT. The Raiders did. Dolphins stopped them, got a field goal, came back down. You know, you guys saw what happened. Field goal, field goal, field goal. Dolphins covered, lost the Jets +10. I still can't believe they got blown out that bad. Like, the Jets are just trash. There's just teams you can't bet on, right, Will?
I don't know what there is to not believe about that. I mean, we're talking about the Jets and
Right. You're right.
Zach
You're right.
Wilson.
Will,
So I
that's on
mean,
me. Look,
as,
I can count on you to slap me, Will. Like
as
you're the
our
guy.
good buddy Colin Cowherd says, he's Johnny Manziel with a little bit better of an arm, man. So you
Man,
can't you
that's
can't bet on that.
right. Never again. I'm not touching them. So I lost the Jets +10 and ended up cashing the Packers +3.5. To me, that was a layup. That was disrespectful for them to be that much of a dog on the road. Aaron Rodgers in prime time. They won the game outright on a crazy finish. So again, I went 4-1 Circa Millions contest. Currently, Willie J, I'm 11-4 on the season. I'm about one game off of where I want to be each week. Me and you talked about this, kind of offline. I told myself if I go 4-1 every week of the season, I'm gonna finish 78%, which is insane. If you lose 18 games, I'm taking home the millie. So I'm literally one game off of that pace. I like where I'm at. I'm currently tied for 167th, and there's a total of 4,087 entries. So, hey man, I'm trying to get it. I'm definitely gonna be leaning on you, Willie J, this week for week 4. But that is my Circa Millions recap. Make sure you guys look. I'm posting that every week right after the game start. I'll post my Circa Millions picks, or I may post them a little bit sooner once the picks are submitted or due to be submitted, just so you guys can see it. I'll do that for week 4, so you can see them, man. But yeah, week 4 should be fun. I like a lot of the matchups. I think there's some spots that can be attacked with teams that are being a little bit under the radar. Teams that are, oh, the sky's falling, nobody wants to bet them. I think those are some of the best teams to bet in those scenarios. We'll get to that a little bit later, but Circa Millions recap. Hey, Pete's Pineapples. Y'all head over to at Circa Sports on Twitter. Y'all want to see the whole breakdown of that, man. So I'm excited for that. But Willie J, look, let's jump into week 4. Y'all know what we do with this show. We always start out with our favorite pick 'em picks. These are just our game winners. We're gonna go down the list here. Willie J gonna give you his list. I'm gonna give you my list. All you guys that like to be in these big pool plays where you just have to pick a winner with the best person with the best record wins the money, the pot. This is what we do for you guys each week. So this is no spreads, no over unders, nothing like that. Straight pick'ems. Willie J, if you want to start it off, man, go ahead and give them your rundown. If there's any games you really like more than any, give them a little something, but let them know who you like each game, NFL game this week for your pick and plays.
Okay, starting off with the game tomorrow night, Thursday night football. We got the Bengals and the Jags. I'm gonna roll with the Bengals. It's like basically, do I like bleach or do I like dog shit? And so I'm gonna go with the bleach for tomorrow. So I'm taking the Bengals. Don't know what's going on with Urban Meyer and company in Jacksonville. So give me the Bengals for the pick 'em. And then starting with the games on Sunday. I like Washington. I like the Washington football team over Morehouse College, better known as the Atlanta Falcons. Following that up with the Bills, I took them over the Houston Texans. I think that's going to be a bloodbath up there in Orchard Park, New York. I like the Bears. I like them to bounce back. I think Justin Fields, even though I don't like him too much, he can't play for me, but I think that they'll be able to beat a guy who really can't play for me in Jared Goff this weekend against the Lions. So I'll take the Bears. I like the Cowboys over the Panthers to continue what they were doing this past Monday. Cowboys are unstoppable on Monday Night Football, or they've been unstoppable. They were unstoppable on Monday, at least on the offensive side. Um, I'm going to the well one more time, Pete. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Colts. I'm taking the Colts over the Dolphins, the Vikings over the Browns. I'm trying to I'm trying to give you guys some differentiating picks to separate you guys. If you are in a pick 'em type of game. I like the Vikings against the Browns. I said that. I like the Saints against the Giants, and of course, I'm taking the Titans over the Jets. We know that, right?
Layup.
Um, right. I like the Chiefs over the Eagles, the Rams over the Cardinals, the 49ers over the Seahawks. I don't like going against Russell Wilson, but he hadn't. I mean, he's been okay this year. He hadn't been the rust that I know, right? So I'll take the 49ers. I like the Broncos over the Ravens. Now, don't get me wrong. The Broncos have beat a bunch of nobodies. They beat who? The Jaguars. They beat the Jets. And then who the Broncos beat in week 1? I can't even remember, but it was, they've got wins that aren't against really good teams, but I think they'll step up and play this week against the Ravens. I like the Packers against the Steelers.
Oh,
And then
they beat the Giants.
the
Broncos
Giants,
did.
that's who it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can't give them too much credit, but I do like the defense and I like where they're playing in Mile High in Denver. So I'm gonna roll with the Denver Broncos against the Ravens. I like the Packers against the Steelers, and then I like the Buccaneers against the Patriots. I think this is we'll talk a little bit later about that, but I think this is a I think the Bucks will be able to coast in this one. And then for the Monday Night Football game, I'm gonna take the Raiders against the Chargers. So those are my picks.
Ooh, okay. Well, the thing with this, Will, a lot of these we definitely agree upon. Both like the Bengals. I like the Bengals. I'm going the opposite way. Now, I put out a graphic saying I like Washington. Then I find out some news about some injuries and different stuff. I'm actually gonna switch. I like Morehouse College against Washington in this game. I like the way they played last week. The Falcons did, and I'm gonna switch to the Falcons. I'll update that and repost that there. So we're on opposite ends of that game. Both like the Bills. I'm on the Bears with you. I think it's going to be literally a last second field goal for that game, but I do think the Bears squeak it out against Detroit. That's just Detroit. They're going to be Detroit. We both like the Cowboys. I'm on the Cowboys, which you will. You took the Colts. I can't touch them. I will not take the Colts all year. I took the Dolphins there. I like the Dolphins. I'm going opposite of Willie J there. Vikings. I think Willie J took the Vikings as well in this spot. Did you take the Vikings versus the? Yeah, he took the Vikings. I'm on the Saints with him. I'm on the Titans. I'm on the Chiefs. I'm on the Cardinals. I switched. I think you took the 49ers in this spot. I think. Did you take 49ers or Seahawks?
Wait. I took the 49ers. You're taking the Cardinals over the Rams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am taking the
I just
Cardinals
had to
over the
double check
Rams.
that. Okay.
Yeah, I think in this scenario, this is one of my like going against the grain in a pool play. I think this is the game, one of the separators, because I think majority of the people in these pools are taking the Rams based off of them beating the Bucks, right? So I'm on the Cardinals. I like the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks go um, into San Francisco and do something to them there. Well, I have a little bit more on that game a little bit later. I'm on the Ravens, although I think Denver is tough. I think the Ravens have something to say about that. And I think that the weak schedule for the Broncos is going to catch up with them in this game, the physicality of the Ravens. So I like the Ravens. That's another one of the swing picks, I think. I think a lot of people are on Denver. I'm on the Packers with you, Willie. I think the Steelers just don't have enough. I like the Bucks in New England. And, Will, this one was tough. I wanted to take the Chargers so bad, but I just think John Gruden is the difference in this game of winning outright. And I'd like the Raiders Monday Night Football. So I'm on the Raiders right there. Las Vegas Raiders. So those are our pick and plays. Again, we did post them already on Instagram at That's a Bet Podcast. Make sure you guys are following us. Willie J also posted on his socials at Group 13 Sports. And I posted it on at Pineapple Picks 2T. But we will update those. I tweaked one or two of mine, Willie J, so we'll get those switched out for you. But those are our pick and plays for this week. Hope you guys win some money with our picks. Um, Speaking of picks, Willie J, and speaking of my bookie, did you guys know that Tom Brady returns to New England for the biggest game of the year, and the stakes have never been higher at my bookie? Whether you're backing the Bucks or the Pats this Sunday, the game is always more exciting when you got money on it, right? Especially at my bookie. Get in on the action and take this game to a whole new level at mybookie.ag. Both teams are sporting top defenses, and nobody knows each other better than Brady and Belichek. Slow and steady will win this race. Smart money bets the under. Don't wait around. Join my bookie now and bet on the biggest game of the season, Brady versus Belichick. Use our promo code, That's a Bet, and double your first deposit. Again, guys, that promo code is That's a Bet. Double your first deposit with my bookie and start winning season today, man. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie. So, Will, hey, I don't know. I'm loving that game, and it's gonna be exciting. I think Willie J may have something on there here in a little bit, but before we get to that, let's jump into one of the more popular NFL type of games within a game that's going on right now, and that's Survivor, right? Survivor picks. A lot of people are playing this each week. If you don't know what Survivor is, you pick a team each week that you think is going to win a game. But the caveat is if that team wins, you move to the next week, but you can no longer use that team again, right? So, for instance, week one for me, Willie J, I picked the Steelers. They upset the Bills. They're one win of the season, which seems crazy now, right? Week two, I was on the Patriots. Patriots whooped up on the Jets. Week three, last week, I had the Ravens. Squeaked out of that one, and everybody had them too. So if they would have lost, a lot of people would have fell out. So um, before we give our week four, we'll kind of let everybody know who you had your first 3 weeks of the season.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So I had San Francisco beating the Lions in the first week. I like to. I'm more of a guy that likes to go with automatics. So I took the Niners against the Lions, and they covered that, or they won that one for me. And then in the second week, I took the Browns to beat the Houston Texans, with which they did. And then
Automatic.
Absolutely. And then I took the Cardinals in Jacksonville against the Jaguars this past week. It wasn't as automatic as I would have liked. They actually had that was an ugly cover by the Cardinals, but they did get it done. So I can't use those three teams anymore, but I'm lucky to still be in this thing. And so, this week I'm going with the Bills. And we know who
Ooh.
the we know who the Bills are playing this week. They're playing the Houston Texans. I try to play a lot of teams that are going against the Texans if it's the Texans in Buffalo. I think this will be a good one for me. So,
Yep, Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Well, I like it, man. I'm on the Bills with you as well, but I had a secondary one just to kind of go off the unbeaten path, but it's not really off the unbeaten path too much. But my first choice will be the Bills as well. Um, but if you want to go off a little bit, I like the Bucks. I know a lot of people may have already played the Bucks. They might have been against the Falcons, but my strategy was a little bit different to where I'm kind of going two or three tiers below automatic. That's kind of my strategy because at some point, like later in the season, the you may need Buffalo if they're playing another cupcake, week 14, 15, 16. I'm more strategic in that sense. And here's the thing, late in the season, you have to remember with survivor picks, there's a lot more divisional games late, right? And a lot of these division games can be tough. They can be traps, and these teams know each other very well. So it may seem like an upset, but these teams play each other every year twice. So you're seeing them reoccurring. Sometimes they play them in the playoffs, and then they got to see them again next year. So I'm actually going to go the Bucks in New England. I think Tom Brady and Tampa gets it done in a closer tight battle, but I think they win it there. And this is a good spot for me to take the Bucks just because it's not as many people on the Bucks as the Bills. So Bucks for me. Willie J has the Bills. Those are our two survivor picks for week 4. Hope you guys win with that, man. It should be pretty fun. All right, well, let's get to the meat and potatoes, man. Time to ride with these early leans, man. So what we're gonna do in this segment, man, we really like to we go on mybookie.ag and look at the lines, and we kind of try to give you guys an early peek at where we're headed. Where's the train headed? Where's the money train headed for the week? So these are our 3 early leans against the spread, or these are our favorite over unders that we're kind of seeing right now um, as we head into week 4. So with that being said, Willie J, give them your top 2 or 3 ATS leans that you're kind of looking at right now, that you're looking to probably bet come this Sunday.
oh well, for me, it starts with I'm going down to the city of Atlanta and I'm going to touch that game. Don't get me wrong. I do not like the Washington football team. I don't like the quarterback situation. Hell, I don't even like the defense. When you look at the defense, they might lead the league in first round draft picks on the defense. They're known for all of the playmakers they have. I hear so much about Chase Young. I see commercials. I see, Montez Sweats. All of these guys, up front on the D line. They have not played well this year. They are giving up like 432 yards per game on defense, which is 31st or 32nd in the league. It's just been a bunch of names that have done nothing, and I know that for a fact because I have the Washington football team defense for my fantasy team in another league. So, and let me just go ahead and say this, and then I'll get back on the pick. Chase Young, I hear all of this hoopla about him. I didn't like him. I thought he was a little bit too tall. I like my DNs more in the 6'3" range. He's about 6'6". I don't know if I'm sold on him yet. But I will say this. He doesn't lead the league in sacks, but he does lead the league in getting past the quarterback. And that's the worst place you can be in when you're a defensive lineman.
You're damn right.
Every time I look up, he's behind the quarterback. What is that going to do? But with that being said, this is the game where the defense gets right against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons last week against the Giants, I don't know if the Falcons were actually good enough to win that game or if the Giants were just that bad, right? I don't like the Giants. That's one of the worst franchises in the league. And I hate to say this, but it's about time. I haven't said this, but it's about time for Matt Ryan to be done in Atlanta. To me, it felt like the Falcons won that game despite him. His arm is shot. The offense hadn't been as explosive as it needed to be, especially with Arthur Smith calling the plays. But with that being said, They won without him, but I think that that's going to come back to bite him this week. And check this out, Lockett, and before I move on to the next one. Buffalo blew Washington out last week by more than 20 points. Teams that are coming off a 20 more point blowout are 5-1 against the spread this season. And then road favorites coming off a loss, facing a team that's coming off a win, which is this situation right here, are 78 and 54 over the last decade. So I'm going to take the Washington football team -1.5 in Atlanta. This is a back against the wall situation for the football team. All right, so that's my first one. My second one, I'm taking Tampa Bay against New England, and I'll be faster on this one because this is simple. Tom Brady is going back to New England. This is a place where he's played before he got to Tampa Bay, he played the last 19, 20 years, whatever it is, and he felt disrespected. He was a guy that took pay cuts over the years so they could bring guys in to make the team stronger, but he also didn't have any say so on who the plays, what players were coming in. And so there's always been, even though they've been successful, there's always been a rift between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick because Brady felt like he didn't get the respect that he was deserved. So Brady is just as competitive as a Michael Jordan. He's Kobe Bryant. He's that type of guy. I think he wants to go in New England this week and lay 50 on them. His dad already said it that this is going to be a vindication game for him. Although he doesn't want to sign off on anything his dad said. He wants to go back to New England and get a win in a big way. And then I'll throw this stat out. Uh, I'll throw this stat out to you as well. Teams this season, we're talking about this season, playing their second straight road game are 7-0 against the spread this year. So I'm going to take that. And then the last game that I'm taking, and this kind of goes hand in hand with a couple things I got to say to the Colts later on. But I'm going to take the Colts and all these spreads. Let me just reiterate this. All these spreads that we're getting is off of MyBookie .ag. So go to MyBookie and check it out, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about with the lines. The lines I'm speaking on right now are exactly what I see on MyBookie right now. And so the last one I'm rolling with are the Colts +2 with the Dolphins. The Dolphins they're in a sticky situation because Tua's not the guy. I said that before he got drafted. I've never been high on Tua. And then when you look at Jacoby Brissett, he's a good player, but he's a backup. He at the end of the day, he's a backup. I would love to have him as a backup, but I don't want him starting. What you saw last week against the Raiders is what always happens. When a backup quarterback comes in, you get that first initial punch where the team plays well, and then they start to regress to the mean for the following weeks. This is a tough game for Indianapolis going down in that heat in Miami. So look for that to play a factor in the third, fourth quarter. But I think in that situation, that'll be the Dolphins trying to make a run, trying to come back because the Colts will already be up. Quentin Nelson is out right now or he's injured. Carson Wentz is banged up, and I don't know what to expect from him. But I'll say this: if any game this season is as important, this is the one that's the most important for the Colts. If they lose this, they'll be 0-4, and if they get to that point, we're going to be trying to look to make some changes in Indianapolis. So I think this is a huge game for the Colts, and I think they get it done.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I like those picks, and I'm on the same vein with those, except for the Colts. That's just a team I just can't touch anymore. They're in that Jets category for me, Will. But I definitely like those. I love those, man, and we'll definitely get those leans over to you guys as well. Will, I want to start West Coast. I want to go NFC West. I touched on it a little bit. I like this team actually to upset the 49ers, and I'm going Seattle Seahawks +2.5, currently sitting right now +100 on mybookie.ag. This is in Santa Clara. Totals 52. I want to go let's get a little weird here, Will, right? So the Seattle Seahawks are traveling 709 miles to this game. This is the shortest they've traveled all season, right? They've already traveled to Indianapolis, which is 1,868 miles, Minnesota, which is 1,391. They lost to Minnesota. They beat Indianapolis. They're back-to-back road games. Will, what'd you say? Teams are 7-0 ATS, right? This season. Boom. Back-to-back. Biggest stat for me is Seattle's 1-2. They're 1-2 this season. 2-game losing streak. Russell has not started the season 1-2. Russell Wilson, that is, since 2018, Willie J. And it's only happened 3 times in his career: 2015, 2017, 2018. Right? He's never fallen to 1-3 as a quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, a couple trends to kind of back that: road underdogs coming off a loss since 2019 are 97, 69, and 5. That's a 59.6% covering rate, ATS, and that's since 2019. Russell Wilson himself, off of a loss, is 20, 11, and 2 as a road underdog, 66% in his career. And he's 26, 14, and 4 18. He's 26, 14, and 4 ATS coming off a loss, right? And then he's 20, 11, and 2 as a road underdog, just period. So that's 66% and 68%. I'm taking Russell all the time to cook. They disrespected the man last week by only allowing him to throw the. He didn't even throw the ball 30 times against Minnesota. He's one of the bottom throwers right now in the league. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're beefing, but that preseason stuff. Will like we're talking about. Okay, can he get more of the offense? It's a push pull between the coaches and Russ. But they're 1-2 now, and they finna let him cook. Um, the biggest glaring thing for me is Kyle Shanahan. He just doesn't cover. He doesn't cover as a favorite, as a head coach. He's 8-19 and 1 ATS. That's 28% covering rate as a favorite, as a head coach of the 49ers. And to be totally honest, the Seattle Seahawks, you can kind of just look at past couple years. They have the 49ers number. I mean, they're 13-5-1 ATS, 72% in the last 19 meetings against the 49ers. So Russell's gonna cook. I think Russell doesn't go 1-3. And to me, this is the game that Jimmy Garoppolo becomes Wally Pipp. And they're gonna bring in Luke Garrett by the end of this game, by the name of Trey Lance. Because I just think Jimmy G's numbers aren't good enough right now. And I think Russell's going to put on a show with Metcalf. Now, I will say this, guys. I like him right now, but Tyler Lockett's ankle scares me. My cousin. I hope and pray he can play. He's leaning towards playing right now because even him being out there will be, draw some attention away. But I think this winning or losing is going to be hinged upon Lockett playing. If he doesn't play, I still think the Seattle Seahawks cover this, a tight divisional game. And I like the Seahawks plus 2.5 here. I'm just backing Russell Wilson with a short trip down to Santa Clara in this matchup. My next game, hey, you see the dub right here? I'm eating a W with the Saints, man. They going back home. I like J-Bo. They're taking on the Giants. The Giants lost to Morehouse College last week, right? We talked about that. I cashed that in Circa Millions. I just think this game is one of those matchups to where I think this is going to be an emotional, um, big time homecoming for New Orleans. And it's so weird. Well, I hear so many media outlets talking about, well, they've been on the road. They've been in Texas. I mean, they've been in your state, Will, practicing and traveling, and now they're going home. Is going to be distractions, going to be this or that. Yeah, of course it's going to be distractions. But when you get into that Benz, the Superdome, and you hear that crowd, that raucous crowd, these fans have been waiting for these guys since day one. And as a Falcons fan, trust me, the last time their stadium was closed and got reopened, and that was around Katrina, hey, just ask what happened to my Falcons. We got our ass handed to us. I'm talking about, I knew it was over after the first kickoff. I knew it was a wrap, right? That was a Steve Gleason story, right? The dude that blocked the punt. Y'all know that story. That was the game. I think this game is going to have the same similar type of vibe. And don't get me wrong, I think the Giants are a tough, gritty team, but the Saints at home are just a different animal. And for me, the Saints have one of the top two defenses in the NFL, DVOA. That's a defense that's actually stopping the pass, stopping the run, making big plays when it needs to. And Marshawn Lattimore, to me, will one of the best corners in the league, man. Shut down. You saw what happened the game he was out. They got their ass handed to him by Carolina. The two games he's been in, they whooped the Packers' ass and they whooped the Patriots' ass, right? He's the difference with that secondary. Because my thing in football, NFL season this year, If you can throw the rock and you can stop people from passing, you're always going to have a chance to win. I think the Saints do that better than the Giants. I think the Giants aren't ready to lean on Saquon Barkley enough. And anytime you put the game in Daniel Jones' hands, I am betting against his ass because he will give it to you. He will cough it up. He's just a turnover machine. I think the Saints dominate them and win by 2 touchdowns in this scenario. So I'm taking the Saints minus 7.5. It's sitting at 7.5 right now on MyBookie.ag. My last game here, and it's very weird how I'm gonna break this down, right? I like the Lions plus 2.5 plus 100 sitting right now, but I think the Bears win, right? It's there's a fine line. How many 1 point games has there been this year? I would say 7. There's already been 7, right? And some of these games were +3, +2s. You guys have to understand missing extra points. There has been 11 missed extra points so far this season already. 7 of those 11 were 1 point games. So the moving the extra point back is huge. And these 2.5, these 2s, you see some of these 1s. The games that are under 3 but above 1, let's just put it that way, those are usually 1 point games. I think the Lions literally lose again the same way they lost to the Ravens. Last second field goal. They're up, somebody misses an extra point. They're up by 2. They score, kick a field goal late. They're up by 2. Bears come down, kick another field goal. I just think Jared Goff is going to have one of those bad turnovers late. Willie J, he does. You always waiting on Goff to turn it over. And I think in this situation, I think the Bears defense does just enough to get it done. Justin Fields makes me nervous because of his coach, Matt Nagy. I hate it for him, man. Now I see Trubisky wasn't that bad, was he, Will? He wasn't that bad, was he?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they went to the playoffs a couple years with him playing quarterback. He was, I mean, it's just been a joke because of the stuff that's going on in Chicago. But I've said it from the jump. We got to stop giving these guys these jobs that come from the Chiefs, and we know who's calling the plays there. And so that I don't care about black, white, or anything like that.
Right.
Do not hire Eric Bieniemy. He is
Right.
not calling those plays.
Nope, he definitely ain't. He got the little headset with the little thing there. He just all he do is listen to Andy Reid and saying, "Yep, yep, call that. Yep, yep,
Yep.
call that. Yep."
Or what he's doing is Andy Reid is telling him, and then he's telling Mahomes in the helmet with the call.
Right,
That's
right.
it.
Yep, yep. That's all it is. Hey, yeah, run number 11, Eric. Okay. Hey, Pat. Go R right 752. Right.
I mean, think of and I'm not joking when I say that, man. Think about it. Um, Matt Nagy,
Right.
you had the guy that got fired from the Eagles last year. What's his name? The
Oh,
Eagles head coach.
oh God.
We can't think of his name
Right.
right.
I'm blanking on him too. Oh, Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. He
Right.
came from Andy Reid's
Yep.
umbrella. Um, and it's somebody else. I can't think of the name right now, but I would if I'm hiring a guy, don't hire a guy to come in and run an offense that he didn't run, right?
Right.
So like when the Ravens hired John Harbaugh, 10, 12, 13 years ago, he was never calling plays. He was the special teams coordinator. So he had no problems with bringing somebody in that could run the offense and run the defense. But then you get a guy that comes in, like let's say a Matt Nagy, he comes in there and he's trying to replicate what he saw Andy Reid do, but he didn't actually call those plays. So you got to be
Right.
careful with that.
Right. No identity coming in there. Look, fool's gold. So with that, Matt Nagy will keep this game close. And I'm rolling with the Lions plus 2.5 here, plus 100. Now, both those games that have a hook, if you want to buy it to 3, by all means buy it. Especially right now, these lines are sitting at plus 100 on mybookie.ag. You buy a half a point there, you're still sitting at probably minus 105 or somewhere. The juice isn't too bad for you on those. So I would definitely buy those at 3 if you don't feel comfortable. Or even the Saints, it's at minus 7.5, minus 110. You buy half a point, buy it to 7. You can get it at minus 120 or minus 130, something like that. So I'm on the Seahawks plus 2.5, the Saints minus 7.5, and the Lions plus 2.5. Willie J, who you got again for your 3? Your 3 leans so far?
I'm taking the Washington football team against the Atlanta Falcons at minus 1.5. I'm taking Tampa Bay minus 7 against New England. And then I'm also going to take the Colts plus 2 against the Dolphins.
Got it. Like it. And I love it. Let's get this paper. Oh, shit, Will. It's that time, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. You better have my money. Y.B.H.M. And for those who haven't been telling the show, this is a brand new segment. Me and Willie J are gonna spark this up. But this segment is dedicated to anyone that Willie J or myself want to speak to. We just open mic. We're gonna speak to this person or this team. We're gonna talk to them, but you damn sure better know. We're gonna tell them that you owe us money and you better have my money because you messed up one of our bets. So without further ado, Willie J, let me jump in here and let me talk to the people. But matter of fact, I'm actually gonna talk to Mr. Steve Novak. Steve Novak. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the lead referee for the Lions and Baltimore Ravens game. Steve, what in God's name were you thinking? And your team. I mean, let's just listen to this. This idiot allowed 1.6 seconds to go by on a zeroed out play clock. This was the play right before Justin Tucker kicks the 66-yard field goal. And why am I pissed? Because I actually, and shout out to my brother, I call him Mr. Moneyline Parlay. He had me bet the Detroit Lions plus 300 and the under. This is a $1,600 cash ticket that I knew I knew it was money. As soon as the Lions scored, I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm taking this to the bank." And you know what? It was fourth down. I'm taking this to the bank. Excuse me, third down. Will these jokers, Steve Novak and his freaking referee crew, allowed 1.6 seconds off the clock. Everybody knows that was delay of game. Everybody saw it. The TV people saw it, the announcers. I think the referee saw it. You want to know how I know they saw it? Listen to this explanation. This is what Steve Novak said after the game of what happened in this situation. And I quote, "The back judge is looking at the play clock, and if it were to hit zero, he sees the zero and then looks to see if the ball is being snapped. Then he goes on to say, if the ball is being snapped, we will let the play go. If it's not moving, it's a delay of game penalty. Those are the mechanics, and that's what we apply on that play." Bullshit. Steve, are you kidding me? So if the ball, so you're telling me I have to look not only at the play clock, but as I'm looking at the play clock and it hits zero, if I look down and that brown ball is moving slightly, then okay, I throw my flag and say, "Oh, that's delay a game," or it's not delay a game, or if it's stationary. Come on, man, that is ridiculous. You cost me $1,600. You know what I can get for my kids with $1,600, Steve? Huh? You know what I can buy for my wife with $1,600? You know what, Steve? When I see you, all I gotta do, you just remember this. You better have my money when I see you, Steve. Matter of fact, you can get $400 a piece from four of your guys off the crew and put it together in a pot, put it in a piggy bank for me and give it to me. But you know what? You and your crew, you better have my money. Well, they got me hot, man. Well, what man? You go ahead, man. I don't even want to get on Steve's ass no more.
Don't let them get you upset like that, man. It's just 1 week. We know when something like that happens, then you're due. So you'll get it back. You'll get it back tenfold.
I'm hot, man. I'm hot right now. Go. We'll go ahead, man. I'm done.
Oh man. So mine is centered around the same team. I wanted to say something to them last week, after the way they played and some of the decision making that I saw in the game. I wanted to center it off of that. And then this week came up and it's even worse. They're just not covering. They don't look in sync. It just, they've got injuries all over the field and it's just a bad deal. And I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Um, I'm talking about Frank Reich. I'm talking about Carson Wentz. I'm going to start with Frank Reich because, well, no, actually, I'm going to start with Carson Wentz. I was telling my father the other day, I was talking to my father, and I said, I would love to be the GM, the general manager for the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason why I say that is because I have so much to say about the Colts. I would send Frank Reich a text. I'd say, hey, meet me in my office. I need to talk to you for a little bit. So then he'd come up, and then it would be one of those situations. I got my reading glasses on because I'm looking at the waiver wire. I'm seeing who I want to sign this week. I'm looking, seeing, I'm watching film, all of that. So I got my glasses on, and I give him one of these looks where I lower my glasses down and look out the top of my lenses at them. When somebody looks at you like that they mean business, right? So I look at them out the top of my lenses and I say, "You got 3 games, okay? You got 3 games." Because let me just tell you something. I'm the GM. You're the coach, Frank Reich. Okay? You got 3 games to get this right with Carson Wentz. I took Philip Rivers last year against my better judgment because you said you wanted him, because you were his old coordinator in San Diego when he was with the Chargers. So I said, okay, that's fine. I messed my future up by not getting the quarterback last year. That's the first time, okay? Then we come to this season. We just saw him last year stink it up. And I'm talking about Carson Wentz now. Okay. I'm talking about Carson Wentz. We just saw him last year play awful and got benched for Jalen Hurts, who I don't even know is an NFL quarterback. I know he's a running quarterback, but I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback. So he got benched for Jalen Hurts last year, right? And guess what? We traded him for a conditional first round pick. Okay. So the way that works is if Wentz plays 75% or more snaps this year, it's a first round pick. Well, damn it, I can tell you right now, I will not be paying that for him. I'm just telling you right now. So you got 3 games to get this right, sir. And if he don't play the way he needs to play, he's going on the bench, and Jacob Eason is going in the game because I'm not playing a first round pick for that. You cost me money last week against the Rams, okay? You cost me money. I watched you go down in the red zone and try to do what you were doing in Philly, going for it all the time. You went in the red zone 3 times and you came away with 0 points and you lost by 3 points. Okay. So you owe me money from that one. Now, get his ass in here. Come in here, Carson Wentz. You too. I mean, Frank Reich. You too. Both of y'all, come in here. And I'm going to tell you right now, Carson Wentz, this is your last 3 games if you don't play right. So you better go to Miami and get a win. And you, Frank Reich, you're coaching for your job because you're the one that's running this franchise in the dirt. And I promise you, I will fire you before they fire me. So when I come see you on Sunday in Miami, in the locker room, you better have my money.
Boy, I'm over here crying. That man went into full character. Hey, Frank Wright, Carson Wentz, you better have his money. And daggum Steve Novak, you better have my money. Man, hey, this was fun, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the segment. Me and Willie J are here to stay. Shout out to MyBookie.ag for powering the podcast. This is That's a Bet podcast for Willie J and your boy Two T's, aka Pete. We will see you guys next week. Make sure you guys follow the show at That's a Bet Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you follow my boy Willie J at Group 13 Sports on Instagram and Twitter. Hey man, subscribe. Hit that like button, drop a comment below. Man, look, if somebody in sports, if somebody owes you money or you want to tell somebody you better have my money, drop it in the comments, man. Let us know who you think. And I would love to read those. So Willie J, if you got anything else for the people, man, before we get out of here?
No, just remember it's a slow, steady race. Walk down the hill, don't run down the hill.
You got to get it. Hey, man. For Willie J, this is Two T's. This is That's a Bet podcast powered by MyBookie.ag. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.